Okay, this is fun. Because of the time zone difference, my appointment, as was told to me by my dispatch, and apparently what the broker had, was 12:30. But in Kentucky, the time zones, you like go back and forth over the time zone apparently. So my appointment is actually at 1:30. So that's 4 hours of wait time today. I hope I can get a little bump for that. I don't know if they're going to do anything for it, but man, this is 2 days in a row where I've had about the same amount of time just down the drain. Kind of a bummer, but it is, like I said, a beautiful day. Hello guys, I wanted to show you something that was kind of inspired by my buddy Dirk, who had talked about in one of his recent videos how he missed a couple of days of work because his neck like kind of went out. That's the way I always have described it when it happens to me. And it's not something that everyone can relate to, but I'm going to talk about this in a way that hopefully other people can relate to. And just so you know what I'm doing right now, I'm using a couple of yoga blocks to, let's see if you can, yeah, you can kind of see them right there. So I'm using them to stretch my chest, basically. This will give you an idea of like how I'm using them to stretch through the front of my upper torso. And like basically the reason I'm talking about this is that if you're someone who has lost mobility in your neck before, you understand how debilitating it can be. It can be super painful, and then like you can't drive if you can't turn your head. And I've had that happen to me before. It hasn't happened in a really long time, and my problems are specific, but I wanted to talk a little bit about how driving as a profession and long hours behind the wheel can contribute to neck and shoulder pain and problems and dysfunction. Doing something like this, where it's not effective right now because I'm holding the phone up over myself, but basically I could have something supporting underneath my lumbar spine here, like a pillow, and I actually do have a pillow sitting next to me that I could use, and then I'm kind of sitting with my legs folded. But there's different ways of doing it. You could sit with your knees bent and kind of resting together, like different things to find what's like comfortable for your spine. But if you bolster yourself somehow that you can let your shoulders fall, like use gravity to let your shoulders fall back sort of behind your chest, that's a really great way to counter some of the stress of sitting behind the wheel. What tends to happen over time is the muscles in the front of your body, from your neck into your chest muscles, where the chest muscles attach into the front and like inside of the humerus bone, those shoulder muscles, the front of the shoulders, all of those muscles, and even into the abdominal muscles and the hips, everything will tighten in the front of the body because you're sitting and you're tending to lean forward. The weight of your head is falling forward. And then with your hands on the steering wheel, your shoulders naturally are going to kind of fall forward. And what will happen over time, if you're sitting like that for long hours every day, day after day, that can lead to excessive tension in the front of the body, weakness in the muscles in the back part of the upper body, especially all through the back of the body. And there's a lot of different, like, I'm totally oversimplifying. I was a personal trainer for 9 years. This is stuff that like used to be part of my everyday vernacular and like working with clients who were desk jockeys, but it really is something that can be helpful to people who sit in a driver's seat all day long. So I just wanted to share it. If you have a way of bolstering yourself so you can kind of use gravity to stretch your chest and shoulders and just lie down, even you can do it between your seats if you're a smaller built person, but you probably need to be outside if you're a bigger built person. But if you could let yourself lie back like this for a few minutes every day or whenever you have time, that's actually a great way to help counter some of that. It's not going to fix it, and there's a lot of different things that you can use as solutions to help improve posture and like reduce neck pain and things that lead to not being able to turn your head, for example. But this is a small thing that can help improve your posture a little bit. If there's anything else that anyone else can suggest, please put it in the comments. I also have found tremendous relief from chiropractic, although the history of chiropractic is wild. Side note, like I'm still obsessed with the podcast Behind the Bastards, and one of the great episodes of that was about the person who came up with chiropractic, and the beginnings of it are just totally sketchy. But as a person who has had tremendous pain relief in a very short time with chiropractic care, I do think it can be really useful if you find someone who is legit, because there are a lot of them out there who I don't think are. And also, just speaking as somebody who's worked really closely with physical therapists, other trainers, chiropractors, I would always recommend that anybody who has any like long-standing spinal pain of any type it's medicine in our country is a joke, but if you're going to do something like chiropractic care, it doesn't tend to work great by itself. It usually is helpful, very, very helpful, to work with a physical therapist if you can. Getting physical therapy approved is tricky. Getting it paid for is even trickier. They'll give you drugs all day long, but that's not going to help the underlying issue, so I don't recommend that route personally, but that's just me. All right, I'll talk to you later. I'm going to get back to resting. Well, this has been an incredibly frustrating day of not being able to earn money, but this is pretty neat, and I hope you'll be able to see it, because I think I can't really get out and go look at it. But it looks like what they do here is melt down aluminum, and over here you can see, like, my video was interrupted because I thought I was getting yelled at, but I guess I wasn't. But you can see there's stacks of cans that are like crushed into like cubes, not cubes, but cubes kinda. And then you can see the stacks of what I think that the melted metal is formed into. Maybe you can see a scene that made me think of Terminator 2 where you see this aluminum. I can't really point with my, let's see, yeah, I can't because of the way I'm zoomed in, but I'll zoom it in post. I'll edit in post. You can see that metal, I believe that's liquid metal melting into there. That's pretty cool, huh? Neat stuff. And I noticed there's shiny boots, which obviously are a special type of boot, or like a leg covering. And oh yeah, they have it over the front too, like chaps. So obviously that's protective so they don't get melted. But some of the interesting things you see while you're trucking, cool stuff. All right, after about at least a 4-hour wait, I'm finally in a door. This has been a day, 2 days in a row of a lot of waiting and no wheels turning. So this bitch ain't earning. And it's hard not to get really pissed about it, but it happens to so many drivers, and I just have to really work hard at keeping perspective. Like, it's not happening to me, it's happening to us, you know? It's a hard thing, because there's nothing rational about an industry that has people working and people like trapped in a place far from home in environments where they can't do anything but sit and wait, and they're kind of like captive, and they simultaneously can't earn. And there's nothing that they'll do for you for it, because the way this load was set up, it was set up for early delivery was 7 a.m. and that was the one that got rescheduled from yesterday when the load got rejected. And then I couldn't check in here any earlier than 12:30 is what I was initially told. That turned out to be 1 p.m. or at 12 I was told I could check in. That turned out to be 1 because I was on the border of the like time zones or something. Then the check-in process here was incredibly slow. It was just weird. It was like the chick was sitting there doing the paperwork in front of me that you would think would already be prepared before drivers show up, but they just do it at like as people come in. So you're standing there waiting in line wondering like what takes this long, because most places don't take that long to check in, not like here. But I wanted to show you, now that I'm in the door, after showing you the scene with the molten metal thing that was kind of neat. This, I think, is what they actually make here. I think this is what I might be getting loaded with. I think these are essentially blocks of aluminum that can then be turned into something else. But I think the loading is not the longest process here. It's more the fact that they don't take anyone more than a half hour before their appointment time, and the check-in is super slow. But this is what I believe we're getting, so we'll see. I'll update you later. Howdy. It's one of those days when I'm really glad to be done, and I'm so tired, and I've just had a headache a lot of the day, like a dull, like low grade headache. I'm about to nuke some of this veggie lasagna, which is one of my tried and true dinner options. You know what gets me down sometimes? I know some of you are gonna be like sick of hearing me say some things that kind of are repetitive, but like the aggressiveness of other truck drivers, especially as it gets toward the end of the day. And just, I think I'm also just fatigued because I know I'm staying out for this coming weekend. I was going to go back to just 2 weeks out, but now I'm doing 3 weeks, but then I'm taking a couple days off during the holidays. But I have mixed feelings about it, because just, you know, my family just lives too far away, and people have work or like there's busy or whatever. And so I almost would rather stay out on the holidays, but he told me it makes more sense not to because there's just not enough freight moving. And I'm just really tired, and simultaneously, like, I'm not getting that many miles, you know, because today actually was a better day. I didn't check my miles, but I probably got 500 something, I'm gonna guess. I had 2 stops. Both of them were pretty quick, so that was great. Although the first one was in an area that was kind of a pain in the ass to get to. It was in Ohio, and there were just so many. Was it Akron? I think it was Akron. There were so many no truck signs everywhere that I had to figure out a way around, and that was kind of frustrating. It was like a busy suburb. But the way people drive and the energy with which they drive, and I think the reason it's so frustrating is that there's so much tailgating by trucks. You know, I end up tailgating, and I don't like to, and then I have to, every few seconds the distance warning is going off, and I know that might come across as like something you shouldn't say on video, but it's just the reality that we're all out here doing. Like, if you're not tailgating, you're going to have to tailgate because another truck is going to cut around you. These truckers act like they're driving cars, and there's just a lot of really bad drivers out here that don't give a they're in such a hurry, and it's like you're not really gaining much in the way of time. You're just making things more dangerous and stressful. And they're riding in the left lane when there's 3 lanes because they just have to get around other people, and they're doing like, you know, 73, 74 miles an hour, and that's just the speed that they're holding. Watching multiple trucks tailgate each other, and I'm going to estimate they're keeping 30 feet or so between them. It makes me anxious, and it just makes the drive stressful, and I'm trying my best to manage my speed like I always say, and I'm trying to manage my speed in a way that I'm still tailgating, but I'm not tailgating the way they are. I'm not like right on the ass of another truck that's on the ass of the truck in front of it, and you're all gonna potentially cause some catastrophic bullshit ass accident because you're all too stupid and too short-sighted to recognize that you're not gaining any time, and you're just making the roads less safe and more stressful for everyone, and I'm over it. I just needed to vent for a minute. It's not going to change. It's not going to go anywhere. But I'm keeping in those environments. I'm trying to think because maybe I'm underestimating the amount of distance they're keeping. But let's just say, based on what I'm eyeballing, they're keeping about a third as much distance probably as you would have when your distance warning thing is going off every few seconds. So they probably don't have those in their trucks, and they're probably not governed, or if they are, they just, I don't know, they're governed at a higher speed. And I'm keeping half the distance I should be. I'm usually at that point keeping like 100 and something feet when the alarm thing is going off at 230 feet. So I'm too close to the person in front of me, but I have to be because the traffic will force me to be. The other trucks will force me to. The cars will jump in front of me. It's like you have no choice. So all those things like Schneider Training and other big companies that tell you to keep 7 seconds, you guys are adorable. Good luck with that in the real world, because as safe as you want to be, you can try, but it's going to be difficult because other truck drivers are going to make it so much less safe, and the trucks are worse than the cars a lot of the time, and today they sure were. I'm heading toward Indianapolis, and it was a shit show out there, and I just have been stressed and feeling kind of down, and just that made it a lot more stressful. So to say something I'm grateful for, I'm grateful that I had enough time before I got into the shower. I was in line to get everything ready to go to just make my food and sit and eat and watch my shows and go to bed. And I have a video to upload, so I'll be posting, oh my God. I'll be posting a video for you guys tomorrow, which will be Friday. I think tomorrow's Friday, yeah. Also, I just want to say that there was a cashier who waited on me. He was this big, tall guy, and he had this really genuine smile on his face when I walked up to him. And I think he called me dear a couple times, which sometimes I love that when it's the right kind of vibe. It's not like creepy. It's like genuinely like caring. And it really made me feel better. And that I really appreciated that. There's some really, like, just those little moments that make such a difference. I'm really grateful to people working in the service industry like that, who take that moment and summon the energy when they're dealing with a lot of crap to be kind. It goes a long way. Okay, there's my good vibes moment. I'll catch you guys next time.